Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. For Hire is top tier in the TCG. This is probably the best deck currently in, well, second best deck probably in the TCG. And I'm going to show you in Master Duel, because it's also very good here. This is Sprite for Hire Runick, and if you haven't seen this, dear Lanta, get excited. This deck is very interesting. So, the overall concept is, hey, Rex is a 2, let's throw Sprite in there. And hey, why not throw the Runick cards in here as well, because they also draw cards. And do you know what For Hire does really well? With the addition of the new Folgo, as well as Raphael, these both give you the ability to consistently add additional cards. So instead of having a big boss monster like something like Baron or what have you, instead what we're trying to do is end on a whole bunch of smaller interactions like the Runick cards, hand traps, and maybe some Sprite cards as well, in order to interrupt our opponent. That's the general idea. You use the 2s, hopefully not locking yourself too early, but mainly focusing on the Fur Hires as your end boss, as well as the Runicks to generate that additional advantage every turn. So let's quickly do the card by card. Starting off with the Sprite engine, we're playing 2 blue, 1 jet, 1 a piece of a red and carrot, and then 1 starter. That's right, 1 starter. Why? Because it 2-locks you way too easily. You don't really want to be 2-locked most of the time because of the fact that you honestly want to go for Folgo, you want to go for Beat, you want to go for Raphael, which are all different levels. So you don't want to lock yourself too early, so instead, we're only playing the 1 starter to basically search off of Jet, and then we're playing 1 Smashers as well to search off of Jet. As for the Fur Hires, it's actually not as large of a package as you would imagine. However, there are quite a few Fur Hires in here. We're playing triple Rex. If you don't know what Rex does, on normal or special, you add a Fur Hire trap, a Fur Hire spell trap from your deck to your hand. Also, you can banish it during the main phase in order to special summon a Fur Hire from your grave. Or you could add a Fur Hire card as well. So this is very advantageous because it is a quick effect being able to special summon one of your other Fur Hire cards, which is very nice. This is the heart and soul of the deck for the rest of it, basically, or for the new support, basically. And it's also a dinosaur, which means we can also play triple Fossil Dig in order to search it out, which is also one of the reasons why this deck is so expensive. Moving on, we have ourselves the 1 Donpa. Donpa is a level 2 that during the main phase can special summon a Fur Hire from your hand, except itself, and if a Fur Hire monster is special summoned while this card is on the field, you can target a face-up card on the field and destroy it. Next up we have Beat. Beat is also has the same effect to special summon a Fur Hire from hand, except itself, and then on top of that, if a Fur Hire is special summoned, you can add a Fur Hire monster from your deck to your hand. Except monster Fur Hire, I hate it. That's the whole gimmick. Everything is just impossible to read if a monster for hire. Anyway, so there you go. You can add a monster from your deck to your hand. Raphael, on special summon, excavates the top cards of your deck equal to the number of other for hire monsters you control with different names, and then adds 1 to your hand. That's right, any card. This basically searches any card from the top of your deck. It's basically a draw, kind of, except sometimes you can reveal 2 cards and then be like, I want the better one. This card's really, really good, and you can summon it during your opponent's turn as well with something like Rex to get an additional search, which means that you're just constantly generating more advantage. You're revealing a card, you're searching a card, you're adding cards, and then, of course, on top of that, you have the Runick stuff as well. Moving on, we also have the 2 spells, which is Mayhem for Hire, which is basically just an additional target if you already have the Rookie for Hire, which is mostly what you want, off of Rex. So, Mayhem just targets a for Hire in the grave and special summons it. Pretty decent. However, Rookie for Hire is much better. You tribute a monster to special summon a Fur Hire monster with a level 1 higher or lower than your tributed monster, and then you cannot declare attacks this turn. You activate this card, except for Fur Hire monsters. Guess what? That doesn't matter because Runick cards. So there you go. Also, turn 1. But this is actually pretty decent given the fact that you can go and either tribute something like a Rex or tribute a Beat to get the one or the other. Beat happens to be a level 3, Rex happens to be a level 2. It's very useful. And then Beat can obviously then do additional stuff. Moving on to the extra deck monsters, which are actually very important. We have Donner, Dagger for Hire, which is basically just a Diamond Direwolf, similarly. Just 2 monsters with different names. However, it also has the ability to tribute a monster, most likely itself, to special summon a for hire monster from hand or graveyard with a different original name than the tributed monster. Then, if it was a link monster, you could special summon another monster. This means that you can summon Beat, and then once Beat hits the field, you can then summon another for hire monster, like for example the Rex that you used to summon it, or something along those lines, in order to then go for the or go for the beat effect to search, and then special summon out whatever you end up searching. That's kind of the overall play. You basically get another monster, like for example, another 2 with a Runick, and then you go tribute that off with the Rookie for Hire, go for the beat, beat then grabs, or beat and Rex for this guy, special summon back the beat, then the Rex, and then you're able to search and get Raphael. Great. We have another card, Fulgo. Fulgo is 3 monsters with different types, meaning any of your, basically any of your, what are these? Fur hires will work. But what it does is, it can't be used as link material, but if this card is link summoned, you can special summon a Fur hire monster from your deck with a different type from the 3 monsters used for this link summon. So for example, if you use Dompa, Rex, and Beat, you can then summon a Raphael, or whatever else you end up not using. Fulgo also then has the ability to, if a card your opponent controls is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can draw a card, or you can draw 3 if you have 3 Fur hires. There you go. Pretty good. This means that during your opponent's turn, if you pop something, either by negating it with red and carrot, or just whatever else may pop, like for example, the flashing fire or Runick's destruction, means that you can draw cards. Also Dompa pops. So there you go. Very good. Next up, we have the Runick cards. Pretty standard. 2 Fountain, the 2 Tip, the triple Flashing Fire, double Destruction, double Freezing Curses, double Slumber, and 1 Dispelling. And that is basically it, as besides the tech cards, that being the triple Maxi, triple Ash Blossom, the double Called By, and the double triple tech. As for the extra deck, we're playing 2 Hugin, 1 Gary, the 1 Gin Buster, 1 Mannequin Cat, 1 Gigantic, 1 Zeus. We are also playing 1 IP Masquerena Elf, Sprint, and Unicorn on top of everything else. So that's the deck. Let's hop into the replays and show you how this deck performs. Alright, so here we are going first, and this is mostly a Runick-centric hand. Let's see what we can do. We're going to start off with the Fountain here, activate Dispelling to special summon out Hugin. Hugin is then going to pitch the Smashers. That's not really that big of a deal. If it does get ashed, that's fine. We're then going to normal summon our Dompa and Xyz into Gigantic Sprite. We're then going to activate the Flashing Fire to summon out the second Hugin, and then activate the Fountain in order to shuffle back 2 and draw 2 more. We draw into the Rex, which isn't the greatest. We would have preferred that earlier, but that's fine. My opponent's going to go for the Gizmic Orochi here, and that's also fine. We're going to summon out the Blue. Blue is going to grab Jet. Jet then will special summon itself and activate its effect to grab Starter. We're already 2 locked, so there's not much more that we can do. So we're just going to do the Sprite stuff here. Activate the Elf to then special summon Dompa. Dompa then can special summon the Rex. And then, hey, guess what? That triggers the Dompa to then pop the Orochi that was on field. We can then grab the Rookie for Hire as well and go for the IP Masquerena as well as Mannequin Cat. We're then going to activate the Sprite Starter to grab a red because I realize my opponent's most likely going to have mostly monster effects, and so I decided to pass on this. My opponent's going to start off with Bigfoot. I allow that. That's totally fine. They summon out the Bigfoot and pitch Fleur-de-Lis, which is very funny. We're going to go for the Mannequin Cat. They're going to ash it as well. Darn, no Jet for us. Not Jet, Blue. That's fine. We're going to special summon out the Rex. They're going to go for the Gizmic Orochi here. We're going to activate the Rex to grab up Mayhem for Hire, and then they're going to go and activate Danger Thunderbird, to the which they will then also special summon. Out comes Dean Girsu. They're going to activate the effect of the Dean Girsu, to the which I will promptly negate, and they're going to go for Pain Gainer here then. And at this point, I'm like, okay, you've gone too far. Nightmare Unicorn. So we're going to Unicorn, spin away their monster, and then at that point, they realize that the game is over and concede. So slightly different, but that was basically just Sprite. What happens if we don't play just Sprite? Well, it looks a little bit something like this. Here we drew Beat, the one of, as well as Rex. So we're just going to go normal summon Beat, activate the effect, and then my opponent's going to go Haveness, to the which I will chain Slumber. I'm like, okay, that's not really the greatest, but of course they hit the Agido, and I'm like, yeah, sure, that's fine. We're going to go for Hugin here. We're going to go Beat as well as Rex, because we did special summon this off of the Beat, so there you go. The Beat is also going to search the Raphael or Dompa here, and they're going to mill as well as search out Soliak. That's fine. What did they end up hitting? Nothing. Oh, they hit Kelway. So we added the Rookie for Hire, we added the Raphael, and then we also added Runick Fountain. So we're going to mill even more cards, and of course they hit the best of their names. But then they decided to be dumb and activate the Meta Noise with only 1 target in their grave, that being the Rhino Heart, which they activated to try and actually do something, and so they end up making it fizzle. So there you go. We're going to activate the Fountain and then go into Donner here, linking off our 2 monsters to go for the Donner here, summoning out the Dompa as well as the other Rex. And then we can go and special summon it with the Dompa effect, the Raphael. And then we have 2 different names, so we add the Maxi to hand. We revealed Maxi and Ash there. So there's that. We're going to summon out the Hugin again, and then activate our effect of the Runick Fountain, shuffling 3 and just drawing 3 more cards. Out comes the Folgo. We're going to activate the effect of the Folgo. Going into that last Rex, exile into Gigantic, to the which my opponent will then reveal the Bestial Druidostorm, banishing our blue, and I'm like, that's fine. Out comes another blue, activate the effect of blue. We're going to grab up ourselves the Jet effect. We'll grab up Smashers, and then we are going to, Blink Summon into IP Masquerena. Here we can trigger the Rex because we have multiple Rexes. I believe we have all 3 in rotation. So we're going to go for the Rex here and summon out the Donner, and then go for Mannequin Cat, as well as activating the Mannequin Cat, because, hey, look, Maxi is in the graveyard. Might as well grab up Maxi. Then we can target in order to special summon back the Gigantic, and then link those off into Elf. Elf can then activate its effect to bring back the red, which they happened to send, and we're going to set 1, 2, and 3 the Rookie for Hire Smashers and Called By with Maxi, Flashing Fire, Destruction in hand as well, and then we have Mannequin Cat, IP Masquerena, Folgo, red. I feel like we're doing pretty good. However, we do have to contend with this Druidostorm, which is a bit of a problem. Well, okay, minigame 1, I forgot we had the Called By. So I'm going to activate the Maxi and then realize, oh, I actually only have 19 cards left in my deck. Uh-oh. But that's fine. I'll just draw a million cards and it'll be fine because I won't have anything. We're going to go Destruction on this Scream, banishing 3 cards. Not the greatest of cards to banish, but that's fine. We're going to go for the Fountain as well as for the Folgo, and we're going to draw a tip. My opponent realizes the writing on the wall and just concedes. They also didn't even activate the Rhino Heart for some reason, which was very odd, but okay. And yeah, there's the scoop. So, lots of draws. Alright, so here we are once again going first, and we drew a pretty fantastic hand. Seeing all 3 engines in our starting hand is great. So we're going to start off here with the Fossil Dig, grabbing up Rex. Rex is then going to be normal summoned to grab up Rookie for Hire. We're then going to special summon out the blue effect, grab Jet, and then we can special summon said Jet as well, grabbing up Smashers. I prefer to search Smashers because, again, starter does 2-lock you, and we don't want to be 2-locked too often. We're going to go for the Hugin here, and we're going to activate the effect of the Hugin in order to pitch this other extra Rex that we have to go for the Runick Fountain, so that when we inevitably draw an additional card or search an additional card off of a Raphael, we can then go for the Runick cards and have the Runick cards still available. We're going to go and special summon out a Beat here, then go for our Elf. This then allows us to activate the effect of the Elf, special summoning the blue, and then still having access to enough materials to go for Folgo, while still having the additional target protection of Elf as well as the Revive. Elf is an absolutely absurd card, dear Lanta. So we're going to go for the Folgo to special summon from deck, and then also in chain, I'm going to chain the Rex to special summon Beat, because Beat hasn't activated either of its effects. This means that we can search out a monster while also being able to special summon it, because guess what? It's going to be on the field when a monster is special summoned, allowing it to get that search. So we're going to go for the Rex here. We also have 2 Rex in grave now, so there's that. We're going to go for the Raphael. We're going to go for the Beat in chain. So Raphael is going to reveal off the top a Runick Destruction and a Runick Freezing Curses. I decided to take the Freezing Curses. It just makes more sense. We're then going to add the Dampa to hand. We're going to activate the effect of the Beat, special summoning the Dampa, and then linking our 2 monsters off into IP Masquerena, keeping Dampa on field because Dampa does need to be on field when another Fur Hire is specialed to get the pop, which we do want because of Folgo's effect to draw 3. So there you go. We go and activate Runick Fountain, set the Called By, set the Smashers, and pass. I'm feeling pretty good here. My opponent's going to go for the Heartbeat, shuffling away our field spell, and sending to the graveyard Exchange for some reason, which I'm like, okay, that's a bit odd. And then they go for the Foolish Burial Goods to grab up Rainbow Bridge of Salvation. I'm just going to go, okay, we're going to activate the Sprite Blue, or add up the Sprite Blue, and my opponent's going to add the Paralino. Like, that's totally fine. We're going to go for the Sprite Blue, grab Carrot, and I'm like, great. This then also gives me the ability to actually banish this blue when they activate the Paralino for the Sprite Smashers. So we're going to banish that, and out comes Merly. They're going to activate the effect of the Merly, and I'm like, that's totally fine because I do have this Called By set, so I'm just going to Call By what they ended up activating. Out comes Triple Tack. They're going to steal my Masquerena. Now, this is very interesting. They had a better play here. They could steal the Elf. Elf could then activate its effect if it gets targeted with something like Dampa or with the Raphael, which wouldn't have been targeted, but, you know, we're special summoning the Rex here. So, I still would have had the IP Masquerena to potentially contest whatever they end up summoning, but being able to go Elf here, because you have Diviner, is absolutely the correct play. Stealing that, it's a quick effect, and yes, it is technically a hard once per turn, but it does say you can only use this effect. Guess what? they're a different you, therefore they can still use the effect. Kind of weird. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a game for lawyers. I swear, this is so frustrating. But yes, they should have taken the elf, activated the effect, special summoned out the diviner. Diviner can then mill, and then that would have been a more advantageous position. Instead, they decided to steal the IP Masquerena, to the which I can just banish the Rex, and since, hey, this is only a quick effect during your opponent's main phase, I can go for the Raphael, which then pops with Dompa, and then I can chain block with the Raphael, and I'm going to add the Flashing Fire here, and we're going to pop. We're then going to activate the Folgo to draw 3 more cards. That's Ash, Runick Fountain, and Starter. Fantastic. Love to see it. So here we go. We draw into the Maxi for turn, because of course we do. We're going to go for the Carrot, and then because my opponent controls a monster, guess what? I can add back that Link monster, that being IP Masquerena. Here we're going to go for the Unicorn, pitching a card, and then shuffling away their Merly. We're then going to go into the battle phase after activating Runick Fountain, just to proceed to the end of the phase. And I forgot to set Starter, but it should be fine, right? My opponent's going to start with a Sheeran. I'm going to Ash that and prevent it from even hitting the field, to which they will then Kelbeck away my Elf, which I'm like, okay, that's a bit of a problem, but not that big of a deal. I also don't Max E here. I don't know why, because I'm just stupid, I guess. But now I do. And out comes the Abyss Dweller. We're going to draw a card. They're going to activate the Abyss Dweller. I'm just going to activate Freezing Curses, negating its effect, and banishing SnowiKs. Let's go. There's also the second Havness. We're going to shuffle back 3 of our cards in order to draw an additional 3. My opponent's going to go to the battle phase. I'm going to go for the tip, go for the Flashing Fire, banish a Super Poly, which is very funny, and then go for an additional 2 banishes and an additional draw. Yes, that's what's more important, not the card destruction. We're going to go and grab the Runick tip. Now, again, I do not have a battle phase because of the Runick cards. Sorry. We're going to grab up the Mayhem for hire, and then we're going to link off into the Elf because they spun it back to my extra deck. Happy days. So even though I only had the 1, we can now special summon back that Dompa. We're going to go for the Runick tip, grabbing up the Freezing Curses, and then shuffling back 3 cards. I then draw 3, special summon out the red, activate our Mannequin Cat, set 2, and pass. Now, I didn't go to battle phase this time, so I still don't have another battle phase because, whoops, I literally just forgot to actually go to the battle phase. And at that point, my opponent concedes, realizing that the game is over, and I can basically do this loop infinitum, and then just, run them out of cards. So, there you go. Good game. Alright, we're back with the deck, and honestly, this deck is incredibly fun to play. Let's quickly go over what this deck does, and why it's so very fun. First of all, a lot of the lines are very unique. Each individual side of the deck, the Sprite stuff, the Runick stuff, and the For Hire stuff, all kind of do different things that all pair very differently with each individual card. Like, for example, if you see something like a Rex with a blue, you're probably going to go through the For Hire line into the Sprite stuff, right? But if, say, for example, you see the Sprite stuff along with the Runick stuff, you may just play Runick Sprite. That's totally okay. Or you could play Runick For Hire, which also draws you a whole bunch of cards and still ends on some pretty interesting boards. If you see all 3, you can see what that last game was and the amount of advantage that you are able to obtain. It's kind of crazy, right? So that's where all 3 of them kind of pair very well together, and it's surprising how well they do pair well together. Also, on top of that, they have a wide variety of different combos that you can go for. You can prioritize getting Raphael, which also has a negate, which, hey, did you know that it can negate? I didn't know that. It can negate. It also negates without destroying, which is very, very cool. On top of that, Folgo is just a very good card. Being able to draw 3 cards to basically refill your advantage is very strong, especially in a deck like this that basically entirely relies on just having more advantage than your opponent. So yeah, honestly, just a very fun deck. Now, it does have some problems. Maxi is a problem for this deck. You kind of need all of your special summons. Sometimes you can rely on the Runick stuff and hope that it gets you there, but most of the time you need at least like 2 to 3 special summons. Now, luckily you can kind of counteract some of that requirement due to the fact that all of the Runick cards are quick plays, but if you have to special summon anything else, it does become a bit of a problem, which, hey, that's probably why it's not the best version of the Sprite deck. On top of that, it is very difficult to play. I messed up a ton. Like, everything, I couldn't do everything correctly. And there were so many different things that, like, oh, I needed to make sure that I still had a For Hire monster on field for the second effect of the Rex. I needed to make sure that I had, like, that I special summoned Beat in the correct order off of something like a Donner, and stuff like that, where it's like, just little nuances that you just have to continually remember and continually learn that do make it a bit more difficult. But all in all, very fun deck, very enjoyable, top tier, and overall a solid deck to play. Anyway, that's going to be it for this episode. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy it. If you did, a like is very much so appreciated. And if you want to check out more content like this, as well as more Yu-Gi-Oh, then just be sure to subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye. Shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the content.